So if you remember when we learned about poder, there are certain stem changer verbs. So for example, poder is an O to UE stem changer. And then here with the verb querer, it goes from U to IE. So the reason I bring that up is because you may wonder, okay, why is it not quiero? Why is it quiero? Well, it's a stem changer, which meaning like it's not going to be conjugated regularly. So it doesn't make a difference in the meaning. It still means to want. But when you're conjugating, it's going to go from U to IE. So it's quiero. That's just the way that it is. So just in case you were wondering, this is what Spanish calls an irregular verb. And it has stem changers, but it doesn't change the meaning of it. It just changes the spelling of the conjugation. Okay? All right, so now that we got that out the way, we talked about that. Now let's focus on actual sentence structure, which is going to help you learn to speak, because it's good to study, but we have to learn how to use these sentences, because you're not going to be able to speak if you cannot form the sentence structure. So let's go ahead and follow, and let's do something simple. We can say, all right, so I gave us two sentences that we can start off with. So these two sentences, we have quiero comida and we have quiero comer. Both two different sentences, but first, let's figure out if we set it up the right way. So let's look back at our formula here. Our formula up here is querer plus the thing or the verb. So we have to conjugate querer appropriately. My goal is to say, I want food. And if we want to say, I want, then that conjugation is quiero. Okay, good. So we got that correct. That is quiero. And then it's supposed to be a plus a thing or a verb. So comida, that's not a verb. It's a thing, and it means food. All right. So we have quiero plus the thing. So quiero comida, which is I want food. So that is a correct first sentence on how we can use quiero appropriately. Quiero comida. So that's simple enough. Now let's come down to the second one. I want to go ahead and do the verb format, because you can also say querer plus a verb. And comer is an actual verb, and it means to eat. So here we just said, I want to eat. Two different sentences, but they're both still correct because we're using the appropriate form of querer, and then we're using either a thing or a verb after it. So here was the verb and the thing. So quiero comida, which is I want food. And then we have down here, quiero comer, which is I want to eat. All right. So that's going to be very, very simple to remember. Because unlike yesterday's lesson where, we had three parts of a formula, well, here we just have two pieces. You're just going to either put, querer, and then you're going to put a thing or a verb. And then once you have those two things, you got a sentence. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's see, we can say, we'll do another verb tense. So we already said quiero. So this time, let's do the to form quieres. And we can make it a question this time. Let's make it a question. ¿Quieres dormir? All right, so my main objective was to ask a question here. And the question I wanted to ask was, okay, do you want to sleep? So right here is, do you want? All of that is wrapped up in quieres. Do you want? And then dormir is a verb that means to sleep. So did we set this up correctly? Let's see. Let's look back at our formula. Querer plus a thing or a verb. So my whole point was to ask a question in the to format. So that means I would have had to have quieres. Okay, we got quieres. Now, what about here? Is this a thing or is it a verb? Looks like it's a verb because it's an infinitive. So dormir is to sleep. Do you want to sleep? And that's how you can ask a question. All right. Now, let's see. Let's do a different one. So that one was using a verb. This time we'll use a thing. All right. ¿Quieres agua? Let's say it is really hot outside and you want to ask somebody, hey, do you want water? You want some water? Well, then we can say, ¿Quieres agua? ¿Quieres agua? So now, unlike the last sentence where it was a verb, this one is a thing because water, that is a thing, that's a noun. So here is the noun and it is water. Okay. And then this here is the correct form of quieres, do you want? And that's how we set up our formula. All right, so exactly. So do you want water? Oh, thank you, your fave 77. He said, let's heart it up, teaching from the heart. Muchas gracias, lo aprecio. Yes, yes, dame muchas corazones. Yes, give me lots of hearts. Thank you. Okay, now, I think we're pretty comfortable now with our sentence format, querer plus a thing or verb. So now we can go ahead and we can actually look into a concept that I want to be able to teach you about today. So I'm going to write a sentence here. And there's something that I want to see if anybody remembers from one of our last sessions. All right, so this is a sentence here. Now I want to know, before I explain why I wrote this sentence, I want someone to translate this in the comment section. Well, first of all, what's the sentence even saying? And the clues are up here. If you look at what these conjugations are, that already tell you half of it right there. But I want to see who all can understand what this is. Okay, great job, Cheyenne. Yep, he or she wants to learn Spanish. All right, and that was a good job. That was a great try. Your fave 77, you said, I want to learn Spanish. But if it was I want, it would have been quiero. But with this being quiere, if we look up here, we'll see that it's he or she, el, ella. All right, so he or she wants to learn Spanish. Yes, yep, good job, Queen Elizabeth. All right, so absolutely. So yeah, all you have to do is you have to look up here and that'll tell you what each of these means. So if we're saying quiere and we look up here, quiere is the el, ella form, also known as the he or she form. Hola, Harper Kitten. Gracias por venir. Thank you for coming. All right, so this sentence is correct. So he or she wants to learn Spanish. Now, the thing that I'm wanting to draw your all's attention to is this is set up correctly. We have the correct form of querer, and we have the verb. But I want you all to pay attention to something here. This is an infinitive verb. And just the other day, I went over what infinitive is. An infinitive is a word that is unconjugated. So let's say if we wanted to conjugate aprendo, it would be okay. Aprendo, aprendes, those types of things. But aprender, that is unconjugated because it ends in ER. So I wanted to show you a rule. In Spanish, we have a rule called if the first verb is conjugated, the second verb has to remain in the infinitive. So this would not be quiere aprender español. That would not be right. It has to be quiere aprender. Because in Spanish, if the first verb is conjugated, the second one is not. It has to remain in the infinitive form. That's how Spanish is. They have a rule. You know how we have rules in English, I before E, except after C, and all those other types of rules in English? Well, Spanish, they have their own too. If your first verb is conjugated, the second one right next to it, not talking about other parts in the sentence, if you have it directly next to a conjugated verb, the second one has to remain in the infinitive. So that's just something, a fun fact for you to know as we go on and we see different sentences. You'll notice that whenever there are two words right next to each other, like literally right by each other, the first one can be conjugated, but the second one must remain in the infinitive because that is the rule of Spanish. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead. Let's do us another example. Let's do another example. I told you querer is quite an easy verb because it's already so commonplace in Spanish. That's in a lot of everyday speech. Querer is something you'll be hearing a lot. And now you know what it is, you know, to listen to it. Okay, Queen Elizabeth, all right, you put in the comment, quiero aprendo español. Is this correct? No, because you conjugated aprender, and we can't do that. So it'd have to be quiero aprender español. So that's the way we write this. So if you want to say, I want to learn Spanish, it is quiero aprender, because you cannot conjugate the second verb, español. So this is literally, I want to learn Spanish. And that is our correct conjugation for it. I want to learn Spanish. All right. Yes, thank you all for sending the hearts. Q Life, you sent me a heart. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone else. If you have sent something and I missed it, I'm so sorry. I'm looking like at the board and at the comments. So if I missed something, please forgive me. But thank you all for sending that. Okay. Now, let us do another example here. Let's see. So we have done, oh, that's right. Now this is a running inside little joke here. If y'all have been here like the past few days, remember the whole thing about just add water, about the hot chocolate commercial, the just add water. If you want to say you don't want something, what would you put in here? Like, let's say, okay, you want to say, I don't want to learn Spanish. What are we putting at the front of that sentence? That will basically negate everything. There is a certain word. Yep, exactly. Robin, the comeback coach, and Life Strategies Now, and Harper Kitten, and Queen Elizabeth. Yes, and some person whose name is not displayed, but good job. Absolutely. Yep. Good job, Q Life. All right. So yeah, so all you have to do is just put the word no at the front of the sentence and then continue on with the rest of the formula. So if I want to say, okay, I don't want to work, or I don't want to learn, or something like that, you can say just no. Okay. So yeah, yo quiero mucho dinero ahora. Yeah. Yo entiendo, Kira. Yo entiendo. Estoy de acuerdo. I understand. I agree with you. All right. So if we say, I don't want, yo no quiero trabajar. All right. So this is just a verb, a word sentence that just simply means I don't want to work. So all we're doing is, if you want to say what you don't want, the no will go at the front. It will go at the front of the sentence. All right. So good. Always have to put that into my lesson so that you'll know how to say the reverse of things. So if you don't want to do something, then you'll put no at the very front of it. All right. So let's go ahead and let's see that you are at a restaurant and you're looking at the menu and you're saying, okay, I want this, but I don't want that. I want this, but I don't want that. Yep, that's a good question, Harper Kid. You said how you say we don't want. Okay, let's use that for this example. Let's say for we don't want, we can put no queremos eso. And that is a translation that means we don't want that. We don't want that. So the no is standing in for the don't. And then the queremos, that is the we up here. And then eso just means that. So let's say, you're at a restaurant, you're looking at the menu and you're like, no, we don't want that. So then it's no queremos esto. We don't want that. Yep, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is we're just following our formula up here. Okay, Harper says, I would have thought nosotros no quiere trabajar. No, that's not correct. But see, that's good while you're on the class, so you can understand the sentence structure, so you know exactly where the no goes. Queremos, you'll know about verb conjugations and how if the first one is conjugated, the second one has to be left in the infinitive. So, it's good that we're on this class to learn. Now, there are some people, you can say nosotros, but that's not exactly necessary. So for those of you, if you wanted to say like nosotros queremos, that's just saying extra words. It's fine if you just say queremos and quiere, and you don't have to put tú quieres, yo quiero, él, ella quiere. The whole, like these words in front of it, those are like the pronouns that you put in front of it are not necessary. You can just put quiero and then what it is that you want. You can put quieres and what it is that you want. Quiere and what it is that you want. So you're not required to say yo quiero, tú quieres. That's just extra words. So that's something that I always grew up knowing, is that you don't have to put that in front of it. Spanish speakers will still understand it if you just say quiero, quieres, quiere, quieren, queremos. Okay? All right, now let's go on to another example. I'm going to do one more example, and then it's game time for us. So let's go with a word we haven't used first, because let me see which can. Okay, we have not used the ellos format. So let's say Ana y Luis quieren. And I'll teach y'all a new verb today, maybe one that y'all haven't heard of. It's Sunday, and lots of people like to rest on Sunday, including myself. So, Ana y Luis quieren descansar. Descansar is a verb that means to rest. Ana y Luis quieren descansar. So let's break down why this sentence says what it says. Well, first of all, if we look at our two subjects, Ana y Luis, those are two people. And when you have two people, not including yourself, that counts as the ellos form of a verb. We're talking about ellos. That signals the ellos form. Okay, because you're mentioning two people here. You're mentioning more than one person, because if it was one person, it would be quiero. If we were included in this, it would be queremos. But two people that are not related or regarding us, well, that's signaling the ellos form of a verb, which is why it is quieren. And according to our formula, we have the correct version of querer. Now let's look at our verb. We have a verb. It is descansar, meaning to rest. To rest. So Ana y Luis, they want to rest. Why? Because it is Sunday. So yeah, and you're correct, Kira, where it says the second verb is never conjugate. Correct. As you can see, the verb is still descansar. We never conjugate the second verb when it is directly after one that is conjugated. All right. All right, so let's go ahead. I will put a translation on this because I always love to translate our sentences. So we have descansar, which is to rest. We have quieren, which is want. And we have Ana y Luis, whose names are the exact same. All right, so Ana and Luis, my bad, we're putting this in English, so it's actually and. Ana and Luis want to rest because it's Sunday, and that's what a lot of people, they like to rest. All right. Tia Latree says, hi, is ellos the same as ustedes? That is correct. Yes, that's also ustedes. So I didn't have room to write all that up here, but yes, ellos, ellas, and ustedes. So yes, and that is the same thing. All right, so that is our sentence here. So you can see why this is the ellos form and what triggered the ellos format. You're talking about two people. You can come up here and look at our chart and see that, yes, ellos calls for quieren. And then we have our verb, which is to rest. So correct. All right. All right, no problem, no problem. All right, it's game time. One of my favorite parts of the lesson. Now, for those of you just joining us, we do things in two ways. I start off by giving a Spanish sentence, and I want y'all to give me the English. And then we reverse it, and I give an English sentence, and I want you all to give the Spanish. So we'll start off with, I'll give Spanish first. Now, I'll use a verb that we used on another live, so it probably looks familiar to you if you were to see this verb that we've used before, because this is one that we use quite often. Quiero viajar. Somebody translate that in the comments. Quiero viajar. It's okay if you don't know. It's all right. We all here to learn. You want something. Yeah. Somebody said, I want to work. I want to travel. Yep, good job. So those of you all who are putting I want to travel, good job. Halftime gaming. Good job, Kira. Good job, Cheyenne. So yes, this simple sentence here is just a word that says, I want to travel. I want to travel. Which, by the way, that reminds me of a freebie that I have in my bio where actually I'm giving away verbiage on travel Spanish. So if you're traveling somewhere and there's going to be Spanish speakers, well then yes, that would be for you to download because that goes over travel Spanish. Somebody said, Shauna said, I would say que Yeah, okay, like, what do you mean? Okay. But yes, you're correct. You're Fave 77. Viajar means to travel. It means to travel. All right. Now, let's see. Now I'm going to put an English sentence, and I want you to translate it for me. You want to study. What would we put there? You want to study. Okay, I got an answer in here. Okay, so far the answers are quiero estudiar, quieres estudiar, tú quieres estudiar. All right, so for those of you that said quieres estudiar, you are correct. Now I see about half and half. Half of y'all said quiero, but remember it's you want. And if you were to say quiero, you're basically saying I want. But you want the to form, that's quieres. So remember, we want to look at our conjugation chart. The to form, aka the you form, is quieres. Quieres. So the sentence here is you want to study. So then it is quieres. So like, let's say you talk to a friend and be like, oh, hola chica, ¿quieres estudiar conmigo a la biblioteca hoy? Like, oh, hey girl, you want to study with me at the library? So that's what you would say. ¿Quieres estudiar? And it's okay. It just comes with a little bit of practice and, knowing when to use these conjugations. But feel free to use this as the answer key up here. It is okay. Now, here's another little game for us. Another little game that I love to play with you guys is guess the mistake. So I'm going to write a sentence that has a mistake in there. And I want you all to tell me what it is. All right, so Lisa y yo all right, so what I attempted to say up here is Lisa and I want to eat. Lisa and I want to eat. But there's something wrong with this translation. Who knows what's wrong with this sentence? Yes, good job, Sherry. Lots of different R's in there. Sherry, that would be a lot of rolling R's in Spanish. Queremos, because it's we. Yes, quiero should be queremos. Quiero should be queremos. And why is that? Because we're talking about somebody and me. So whenever you have like me and somebody else, now you're talking about us. You're talking about we. And that signals the nosotros form, which is queremos. The nosotros form is the we format. So what we actually want to say is Lisa and I queremos. Queremos. So that's what it is. So what this boils down to is Lisa and I want to eat. So exactly, Lisa and I want to eat. That is exactly correct. So good job, you guys. But since y'all love quiero so much, let me do an example with quiero. So we can say, all right. So this sentence, I want to sleep now. I want to sleep now. What's wrong with this sentence? Yes, good job, Kira. Good job, it's Shell. Yes, Cheyenne, duermo should be dormir. So, yep, duermo is wrong, Life Strategies. Good job, Queen Elizabeth. That's the incorrect part. So, yes, remember what I said earlier. If you have a verb that is already conjugated, the one directly after it has to say in the infinitive. And I use this verb on purpose because we use this in another example. So we already know what the infinitive of this verb looks like. So we already knew this was not a conjugated verb because we know it's supposed to look like this. So that's to sleep, because we went over that earlier in another example. So just to conjugate it for us, I want to sleep now. I want to sleep now. So that's how we say that sentence. So yeah, so that's how you always, that's how we do it here at Quiz Time. We go from Spanish to English translation, English to Spanish. Thank you, Mire. Thank you for giving the gift. Thank you. So yes, that is how we do that. And then at the end, I like to be able to throw y'all for a loop and be like, you know what? What's wrong with this sentence? Something is wrong with it. And you all surprise me every time. Y'all never disappoint me. So, and thank you, Deanna, for the heart. Thank you so much. So yeah,